Alright, you guys, so I just finished watching season 1 of Jessica Jones. It's a new Netflix show under the Marvel branch. And before I get into this review, I do want to say that this review, right off the bat, is a spoiler free review. I am not going to spoil. Like, if I mention something, trust me when I say that it's safe to know that information. That's not like a spoiler or anything. So, anything I say in this review is going to be a spoiler free review. Now let's talk about Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is, like I said, it's under the Marvel branch of the Netflix shows. It's in the same universe as the Avengers, and it's in the same universe as the Daredevil show, which I talked about. Um, so Jessica Jones, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a huge Marvel fanboy, but I gotta admit, Jessica Jones is a character that I've heard the name. I've heard the name, reading comics and stuff like that throughout my life, but I didn't know much about the character. Like I knew a little bit, um, but like I said, I don't know too much about the history of Jessica Jones. So that's one reason why I was very very interested to see this show. Also, Marvel nailed it with Daredevil. So with this being the next one in the Netflix Avengers universe, I'm like, all right, let's see what they do. And I gotta say, Marvel has done it again. They have. I don't know who's in charge of their television department. Um, which Agents of Shield I've heard has gotten better, but I'm still not watching it anymore. Like I watched season 1 and like the first 5 episodes of season 2, and then I was done after that. But I've heard it's gotten better since then. Agent Carter was pretty solid. Daredevil, like I said, blew me away, and Jessica Jones also blew me away. I was so surprised, kind of, on how much I liked this show. I really do. Let's talk about some of the cast. We have Kristen Ritter, who's playing Jessica Jones, and I like Kristen Ritter as an actress. I do. I think she's funny. She's cute. But I've seen her mostly comedies and shit. And this one is more of a dark and gritty, serious tone. But she's still a funny character, and I love, like I said, a character Jessica Jones that I really knew next to nothing about before, and now I understand that this is not really a good adaptation of the source material, but who cares? It's fun. It's good. Um, so I'm loving this interpretation of Jessica Jones. Um, we have Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. Luke Cage is the character I've been wanting to see on screen in the Marvel universe and the Avengers universe for a long time now. I think everybody's dream casting for that would have been Terry Crews, but when Mike Coulter was cast, I'm like, all right, he looks the part. Don't know much about the actor, but let's see what he can do. And oh my god, fucking perfect. He's like right out of the comic book pages. So I was really, really happy that Mike Coulter is now our Luke Cage, and I can't wait to see what he does, and if he does Daredevil, or when he meets Iron Fist, or when he does the Defenders or anything like. I can't wait to see more of Luke Cage. Excuse me. Then we have David Tennant, who's playing Kilgrave, aka the Purple Man, which is funny. They had never actually referred to him as the Purple Man on the show. And the Purple Man, he's a villain like Jessica Jones, where I knew a little bit more about Purple Man than I did about Jessica Jones before, because I've seen Purple Man pop up in a lot of the stories that I've read and stuff like that. So I was familiar with Purple Man, but not like an expert. You know what I mean? Um, but he's played by David Tennant, as you guys might remember. He was Barty Crouch Jr. in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And for all you Doctor Who fans, he was also one of the doctors. I don't know which one he was, but I'm sure a Whovian or whatever the fuck you guys are called will answer me down below. But David Tennant, I gotta say, I love David Tennant as an actor. I think he's great. He's got, a lot of range. Um, but it was gonna be hard to top Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk from Daredevil. I'm like, I don't even know if they can top it. Did they top it? I wouldn't say they topped it. Is it worse than that? No, I would say David Tennant's performance as Kilgrave is like right on par with Wilson Fisk. I don't know which one I like better at this point. I really don't. I'll have to watch them both a couple more times and decide which one I like more. Right now, I love them both equally. Um, but anyways, let's talk a little bit. That was pretty much like the main cast, I guess. A couple of them anyway. But let's talk about the overall storyline of the first season of Jessica Jones. Basically, we meet Jessica Jones, who has these superpowers, but she really chooses not to use them unless she really, really has to. And she's a private investigator, and um, she meets this girl named Hope, who at first, like I said, this is a spoiler-free review. At first, she thinks she's just gone missing, but then she comes to find out that this isn't just an ordinary missing persons case. In fact, it connects with somebody that Jessica knew from her past, who has the ability to mind control people. And the overall arc of the first season is her trying to find a way to stop this person who is mind controlling people. That mind controlling person happens to be known as Kilgrave. And yeah, that's the overall plot of the season. Now, I love that whole storyline. I love her interaction with Luke Cage. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's chemistry is fucking perfect on screen. I was really worried about it, but it works great. There's this guy who lives next to Jessica Jones by the name of Malcolm. When you first meet him, he's kind of a drug addict and stuff like that. And really, I gotta be honest, for like the first, I'll say almost the first half of the season, didn't care for Malcolm. Second half of the season, I really liked Malcolm as a character. I really did. Same thing goes for Trish. And Trish is, I forget the actress who's playing her right now, but she was in the first Transformers movie. She has the British accent. But anyway, Trish is Jessica Jones' best friend for a long time. And like Malcolm, she's a character that I didn't really like the first half of the season, but towards the second half, I would say a little bit before the second half, I started to like Trish a lot more. So, it's called character development, people. You can start off with a character that we don't really like, but over time we find these things to like about the character. That's character development 101. But yeah, there are some couple things about Jessica Jones that I particularly didn't like. Because it's not perfect. So I gotta say, like, we have Carrie-Anne Moss in this show, who's playing Jerry. Is it Hogarth or Hogarth or something? I forget. I literally just got done watching it. But she is basically, is she like Jessica's boss? Anyway, she knows Jessica. She's kind of like a lawyer, and her whole subplot with her divorce and her fucking the secretary and stuff like that, I gotta say, I didn't really care for it. I was fine with Carrie-Anne Moss's acting in this show. I did not have a problem with that at all. It's just her whole entire subplot, I didn't really care for it until the very end of it. Like, the end of that particular subplot, that's when I was in for it. But at that point, I felt like it's kind of too late now for that. So that's one negative I do have about this series. Let's talk about David Tennant as Kilgrave. I kind of talked about him before, but the first few episodes, you really don't even see him. You hear him, you kind of see him, like, kind of lurking in the shadows kind of thing. He's just like this entity, really. He's like this mystery, like, okay, who is this guy? What is his end game? And then throughout the season, you'll realize this dude is fucking creepy. He's a sadistic psychopath who has these abilities, and it scares the fuck out of me. I know it's not real, but I'm just imagining if there was a guy out there like that, this is probably what he would be like. We all think, oh yeah, if I had mind control powers, it would be really cool. And, to him, he thinks it's cool and shit, but the stuff that he can do is not very cool. And I gotta say, brilliant fucking performance. That is a great villain. Like I said, he's on par with Wilson Fisk. I can't say which one I like more right now, because I like them both equally. Like Daredevil, it's really good season throughout. There are a couple episodes that stick out to me as like my personal favorites, but overall it's a great season. Couple small things I didn't like about it. Let's talk about the one neighbor. What was her name? Robin. Robin is this another neighbor of Jessica Jones, and she's just annoying. And I was kind of hoping that it was going to be like a Malcolm situation where, okay, at first I wouldn't really like her, but as, the season went on, I would grow to like her a little bit. Not really. Maybe the last time we saw her was the only time that I just started warming up to her. Part of me says I hope she comes back for season 2 just so we can see her develop a little bit more, and then, maybe I'll like her. But then part of me says like, oh no, she's so annoying that I really don't care if I see her again. I'm kind of in the middle of that situation there. So yeah, overall, really, really good season. Now people are going to be saying, well, which one do you like better? Season 1 of Daredevil or Season 1 of Jessica Jones? I'm going to say Season 1 of Daredevil right now. I really do like Jessica Jones a lot. Christian Ritter, David Tennant, Mike Coulter, Carrie Ann Moss. I do like the whole cast. I do. But there is one more thing that I didn't like about this one, is we meet this cop named Simpson who's been through some stuff, and then eventually he kind of helps Jessica Jones a little bit. His character, I didn't really like him at all either. I just thought he was kind of there. I understand what they were going for. I mean, they tried to give him a purpose, but to me, I don't think it was executed all that well. It felt like to me that they weren't really trying to focus too much on that, or they were focusing a little too much on it and just not really rethinking of what was kind of coming out. I don't know. So Simpson, Robin, and Hogarth is subplot are about the three main complaints about this show, and that's when you're watching the show, it's really not that big of a deal. So, yeah, yeah. Daredevil definitely had the better season finale. This one has a good season finale. It's really intense and it's fun and all that. David Tennant's just awesome, but to me, the season finale of Daredevil was better. But as an overall season, I'm still gonna say Daredevil's just slightly better, but it's not by much. Jessica Jones is really great. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're like me and don't know too much about the character of Jessica Jones, but you're a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers universe. Because yes, that's another funny thing. And shout out to Andrew Gifford. He kind of, maybe he's like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing there, but it's hard to imagine. You're sitting watching these shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and you're like, and yes, they do have references to the Avengers, but they're very subtle and they don't try to throw it in your face. But anyways, it's hard to imagine that these two shows take place in the same exact universe as the Avengers, and yeah, there's a couple times where I'm just sitting back thinking, going, somewhere in the midst of all this craziness, there is a guy swinging around on rooftops. Spider-Man is swinging around somewhere while all this is going on. It's insane, but it's great. It's a good time to be a comic book fan. Jessica Jones, I'm going to give a high A+ to season 1. What do you guys think of Jessica Jones? Have you guys seen it yet? Comment your thoughts on the show down below in the comment section. Like the video, share, and subscribe. Just do it!